Like you can kind of track what your unconscious mind is doing, where it's like looking for little opportunities and like asking those questions or making those suggestions, or like, you know, e.g. reaching out to people, be like, hey, do you want to do a live video or a podcast together? That's like, you know, gonna create those like little extra opportunities and ways to connect that will, you know, create more connection. It's like the same thing can happen with money, right? Where I'm just like, checking it out, and like my unconscious mind is like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then like it's like every time it works, like money will just kind of pop up out of nowhere. Like even the other week, my mum called me and was like, oh, do you remember that gold bracelet that you had? Oh, I just sold that for you for however much it was, $1,500 or something. And I was like, oh, thanks. Cool. Like just random. She's like, I'll just pop that in your account for you. I was like,
not
so
bad.
random.
Not bad.
I was like, ow. And then I like was like, oh, cool. I actually said I wanted to manifest an unexpected $1,500 this week. And there it is. You know, it's just like you could start really low. And this is like, you know, law of attraction stuff as well, like manifestation. Like, hey, I'd love to manifest an extra $50 this week. And your boss might give you an extra hour's work at, you know, your bar job, or a client might pay you a little bit extra, or like you might find $50 on the ground. It's just like getting your nervous system as well kind of used to like that can happen, because I think we're really conditioned to think that like unexpected bills can come in, and it's like just when you feel like you're getting on top, you know, there's an unexpected bill, or you have a car crash, or something bad happens and it eats your money. And it's like, well, if that's true and that's one polarity, then there's also this other polarity where unexpected good things can happen and unexpected more money can come in, and more opportunities. So it's like, what if it's just literally like a pendulum swing to the other side by, you know, being in that mindset and being open and being in kind of like the vibrational frequency, which, you know, for me is just a regulated nervous system. That's like, hey, makes you a beacon and like makes you so magnetic, right? When you're just like, yeah, walking down the street, and I know that there's opportunities everywhere. Who am I going to meet today? What am I going to encounter? And it's just like that openness and that kind of like magnetism brings that to you.
Yeah, I have such a good example of that. That happened to me literally the other week, when I had my wisdom teeth out. So that cost me a lot, and I was bedbound for nearly 2 weeks. Tomorrow's my 2-week mark. But
wow,
I didn't realize it was going to make me bedbound at all, just because I thought it was just teeth. Yeah. Anyways. And I was like, okay, so I had to cancel a lot of my clients. I'm not going to make the same amount of money, but this year I have been manifesting the same, like a regular income. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to write this week off. That's fine. I'm okay, because I saved up for it. It's not a worry. So I was not worried into going into this week, knowing damn well I wasn't going to achieve the outcome that I normally want to have every single week. And then that happened. All these random incomes started coming in. And I also forgot that I had all these different accounts, and I realized that they had been making money. So I ended up finding an account with $547, and then a few more accounts with like $400. So I ended up making like more than what I would normally make, just because I had all this weird money coming in from all different sides. And I was like, okay, I love that. This is great. And then my sensual healing business somehow boomed while I had my wisdom teeth out. So I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. I will take it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I love that. It's like, I swear that we have this like period sometimes, like, you know, when we're doing and going all the time. For me, I kind of view that as the really like penetrating the world, like action kind of energy. And it's like going. And I feel like we actually have to stop and relax in order to receive. Because sometimes I'll find that like the days that I make the most money are my days off, because I'm not doing anything. And then suddenly all these clients sign up. And I'm like, I wonder if that's what just happened for you.
Is it because like you put less pressure on yourself? Like it just comes in more naturally, right? I think when you just accept it and you're okay with it, I don't know, it worked. It worked.
That's such a good time. I love that so much. I love also what you're saying about consistent income, because that was one of my biggest goals last year. Was like, oh, you know, I always was in this like real kind of stressful scarcity place of not knowing how I was going to pay rent, because I didn't know when was the next client going to sign up, especially when I was still doing web design and stuff. Like I didn't know, like is a client going to book a website this week or not? Like, it was just always this unknown. And I was like, I feel like I really want to know that I've got consistent income so that I have like a base income. And then from there, I can manifest extra money. And something that I find really helps me is like when I hit my kind of like security number of however much money it is per month that I need in order to support my family, pay all of my bills, like, and not just survive, like thrive, like still have nice dinners out and buy myself new clothes and stuff if I want to. As soon as I hit that number, I then just can like relax and feel really like, oh, cool. Now anything on top of that is bonus money that I can put in my savings accounts or invest more money. And so like what really helped me to do that is to have that consistent income. And so just offering everybody payment plans, like you probably do that, right? Like having people pay me, if it's a $4,000 program instead of them paying for having to pay $4,000, which for a lot of people is not accessible as well, right? A lot of people don't have $4,000 that they can just invest in a coach. But what they can invest is $150 a week over however many weeks that is to pay it off. And sometimes it's like up to 6 months. So it's like I take someone through a program that lasts 3 months, but then they're still paying off the payment plan for another 3 months. So it means I can have a 3-month holiday really and still get paid the same amount on my like weekly income. And that was like a game changer for me. And now I even offer payment plans for my photo shoots and everything because I'm like, give me payment plans, recurring payments. So I know I'm making $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a week for the next 6 months. Yes, please.
I never thought of payment plans like that.
Oh, well, it's so good.
Obviously always put a payment plan for anything, like even items I sell for not much. I'll offer what's the app again called? Afterpay. Wow, look at me go. I'm that tired. I forgot what Afterpay was. But yeah, even then, like Afterpay. So even if it's a small little thing, but for some reason, I always calculate my money as a whole. Like, so even if people pay in payment plan, I always think of it as a whole. So
yeah,
that's a nice way of thinking of it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really good for clients, regardless of whether they're like with you buying a product, for example, or if they're coming for coaching or training or something. It's like makes it so much more accessible. So someone that wouldn't be able to afford it now, they can. But for us, it's like then we get to know, and I just choose to do weekly ones mostly because I like to get paid weekly. A lot of my friends do monthly ones, so they just get, the first day of the month, all of their payments come in, and they just like their larger payments. I just personally like weekly. But like it's like then every week you've got this kind of this base wage, and it's like something that I get really excited about now is I don't really think about when people sign up. I don't think about the total cost of the program until I get to the end of a launch. And I'm like, wow, that launch just generated me, $50,000 was my last launch. I'm like, well, that launch just generated me 50 grand. But it's not like I received 50 grand in a lump sum. It's like that 50 grand is paid out over 6 months or a year. But what it means is I'm getting paid every week. And so now I look at, okay, cool. Someone, for example, somebody signed up this morning. Their payment plan is $153 a week, which works out $600 something a month. But so then I look at that like, cool, that's another $153 a week. So I'm like, cool. Now what's my like weekly total? Or like, cool, what does that take my monthly total to? Wow, cool. So now I've created a recurring monthly income of X amount. And it's like, that's what really excites me because I'm like, whoa, especially, we're just getting this new house and it's like the rent is like 3 times as much as what we were paying, and we've hired a nanny and like all of these different things. So it's like our monthly expenses have just increased. And I'm like, cool. So now what I get to do is increase my monthly business, payments to cover that. And it really excites me instead of kind of feeling stressed, like, oh, I've got to get, if $8,000 is like my security number per month, I'm like, instead of thinking, oh shit, I've got to get 2 clients to pay me $4,000 a month, where I'm going to find those 2 clients. It's so much easier for me to be like, I just need whatever it is, 3 more clients to sign up at $150 a week. I'm like, easy. Everyone's got $150 a week to do a cool program. It's going to change your life, like, it's just like, I wish all coaches knew that.
Yeah, not all of them do that, do they?
No, well, and because that's like when I first started, attending coaching programs, like a lot of them will offer monthly payment plans, which I think is great. But I don't see many offering weekly. And, a big thing for me was like, I want it to be accessible because, my whole story is like, I had a mental breakdown. I had no money. Actually, I was like $20,000 in debt, but I wanted to live this like traveling lifestyle, making money while I traveled. And it's like, at that point, I didn't have $5,000 to invest in a coach that was going to help me do that. But what I did have was $500 left on my credit card limit that I could invest for that month into a program that cost $5,000. And then I paid that off $500 a month as I started making more money, and then eventually, paid off my whole credit card and got out of debt and into credit. So it's like, somebody might have that $150 a week or whatever it is that they can be like, yeah, I can do that, and then start changing their like lives from that point. So I think it's like really cool to be able to have those kind of smaller accessible amounts. And I just find that so many more people will sign up. Like I do have some people that they still choose to pay the monthly amount, or, I always get people that choose to pay the full amount up front because that's just how they prefer. And, now when I do coaching programs, mostly I will just pay up front, or I will choose the like $1,000, $2,000 a month payment plan option. So I pay it off in 3 months. But like 2 years ago, I literally couldn't have done that if I wanted to.
I do like the polarity as well, because when you started traveling, so you said that you were in debt, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just literally were like, this is what I want, and I'm going to make it work. And you started finding out, was it a life coach that you had, or?
It was a wealth coach. Actually. Yeah. One of my now friends. Yeah. I did like some wealth coaching with her. She had a group program that was 3 months. And I was just like, and this was, I'd been kind of trying my online coaching program, trying to build it for about a year. And this was like, I'd try and then I'd give up, and I'd try and give up, and then I'd have a bit of success. But this whole time I, obviously still had bills to pay. And so I had a credit card from when I still used to have my company. And so I wasn't like spending stupid money. I wasn't just out shopping for myself. I was paying my bills, on my credit card. And then of course, as you know, credit cards, they've got big fees and all of this stuff. And so like, eventually it just ended up, I owed 15 grand on my credit card and was trying so hard to actually get out of that debt, pay that off, but also pay my rent, pay all of my bills, food, etc., etc. And it just like, it wasn't happening. I would just kind of be like, oh yes, 3 clients would book and I'd receive this money from them, but these weren't programs that I was just doing one-off sessions. And then the next week I'd have 1 client, and so that was another reason that I was like, man, I need something that's more sustainable. So then I was like, what about an online course, like a program that's run live, but where it's like 3 months? Because then I also was like, it took me like 3-6 months to actually start making changes, and especially with money, right? So I was like, oh, there's got to be something where I get to serve more and I actually get to help my clients have more transformation, but it also serves me more so that I can be more nourished to help them. So yeah, and that was how I eventually managed to get out of debt, as well as manifesting random money.
I did the polar opposite. I went straight into, wow, I'm broke. I need to work. I found jobs and I became a workaholic, working 7 days a week, 17 to 20-hour days. So I was like, yes, bringing it in. And then I was mostly traveling in Southeast Asia. So technically traveling was cheaper than living in Australia. So that's why I didn't pay rent here. I didn't live here. If I worked if I came to Australia, it was to work and have everything paid off for me. And then I would go overseas where it was cheaper to live and travel like that. And that's how I ended up making money, because I ended up working so much that I saved so much. And I was like, okay, now I'm set and now I can do whatever I want. So we have completely different backgrounds on how we started. And look at us. Like,
I know
the way worked.
That's it.
I don't know if I'd recommend my way, but I
think again, it's just like, it's going to be different for everyone. So like, do some personal development, like get some, like learn about yourself, learn what works for you,
and learn how to love and appreciate money and have a healthy relationship with money, not see it as the devil, and not see it as something that's going to destroy your life if you're not constantly getting it, especially from a regular job, because there's so many other opportunities to get it. And when traveling, I meet so many people who don't actually earn that much money, but they're okay with that. So they usually work in a hostel. They get given hardly any money, but they get free accommodation and food. And for them, that's enough because they get to travel.
Yeah, that's another thing. I did heaps of that in South America, like what is it, woofing and helpex and all of those, where you stay for free. The programs are called woofing or helpex. And you just get to stay for free, and so then you get to save money. So I when I went to South America, I had, I think, 10 grand that I'd saved up from working heaps and heaps. But then literally a year later, I still had 5 grand left because I'd done so many volunteer jobs where I just volunteered my time and I got free food and accommodation. And it's just like, then you get to travel for so much longer. You meet more people. I learned to speak Spanish. Like, it was such a good time.
Oh man, you're reminiscing because I haven't been traveling recently. Oh, it's been hell. But I'm planning. I'm escaping. I want to go
overseas. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm escaping so soon. But I'm not gonna lie, I did go into that hole of just being worried about what's to come, just because I don't know if I'm allowed back in Australia. Because before, I've only had like my 2 vaccines, so I didn't know if I was allowed back. So I was like, I need to make sure that my new business is going to thrive before I leave. But now I've given myself like a month, and I'm like, you know what, it is going to thrive, because if I don't 100%. Give myself a timeline, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I don't care what my business is going to give me. I know it's going to give me what I need, because I want it and I need it to give it, like, to give in what I need.
Yeah, for sure. And it will.
It will. Absolutely. Yeah. I manifest, so it will happen.
Yes, 100%.
Actually, I had one question. Would you think that an online business is for everyone?
Oh, good question. I guess it depends what kind of online business. Obviously, I do coaching, and I absolutely don't think that's for everybody. Some people love it. I've, had kind of an on and off relationship with it. And it's only now that I'm really doing something I love, that I love it. But I think that I feel like some people, maybe they actually need interaction with other humans. So it would depend on like what you choose to do, whether it's products, services, e-commerce, coaching, whatever it is, graphic design, web design, all of that kind of stuff. I would just say, if you are somebody that you feel like you would really miss the interaction of hanging out with workmates, go find a co-working space or find a cafe. Or when you go, move to that new town, like get on the local Facebook groups and see who wants to do co-working, so that you do have people to hang out with. That's something I did heaps of, like have 10 people that would all go to the same cafe, and we sit around a big table and we'd be like, cool, right, we're going to be quiet now for an hour, we're all going to work. And then we'd have a break and we'd all chat. And it was like, I still got that atmosphere of feeling like I'm going to work and I have my friends, So yeah,
because I think sometimes owning a business is definitely not for everyone.
I think so.
If it's not for you, my advice would always be find your hobby and try to get paid for that hobby. So if it's performing, try to get performing gigs around. If it's making cocktails, apply for cocktail jobs, because you can literally have the same job that you have here anywhere else in the world. So I think that would be my advice for anybody that doesn't want to set up their own business, because it is hard work, and it's not for everyone. Definitely not.
No, I think as long as you're passionate about it, like monetizing your hobbies is the key, right? Because it's like, you don't want to feel like you're working, really. You want to feel like you're just having fun and doing something that you would love to do.
Absolutely. That's the key to life.
Right? Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining
my pleasure.
With me. Oh my God. We literally covered so much. So we have so much information. And where can people find you, and especially to join in with your wealth coaching?
So probably Instagram is the best. So if I guess you'll drop my Instagram in
Oh,
the
absolutely. I
podcast
always link
thing, I reckon, yeah, jump over onto Instagram and you can see my programs there. My program at the moment that I'm launching is Aurum. So that's the 3-month embodied wealth intensive. And I also then do, yeah, one-on-one mentorship, some once-off wealth clears if you kind of want to just get a taste of working with me. Then I'm going to be releasing a bunch of different things. So just jump over to Instagram. You can, I also have like a lot of free content there, like where I'm doing live videos talking about different ways to work with money and all of that kind of stuff.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Oh, yes, it has. All right, see you guys, and I will see you in the next podcast.